No man is more professional than I. I am a 1% man. I am not above or below any man. I'm training my mind. I'm building my body. I'm connecting to my soul. I'm investing my money. Welcome to the 1% Man Podcast. Let's go. On this computer, please. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the 1% Man Podcast. I'm your host, Bertrand. And I'm excited for today because I have my good friend Jessica with me. Jessica is a therapist, psychologist. I just call her Dr. J. Just because, well, actually, I haven't called you Dr. J. I think I probably thought about doing that, but I don't think I've never asked you if I can call you Dr. J.
Go for it. I was just thinking I call you B instead of Bertrand. So we're just going to be shortening everything today, all about the nicknames.
Right? Okay, Dr. J. So this is perfect. This is perfect. We can definitely do that. So, Jessica, let me ask you this. And, just to start everything off is, what is it that you do and why is it so important for the world, especially for men?
So I like to think of myself as the busy mind psychologist. I help busy minds get unstuck, out of their own way, and back to their best selves. I know your audience are trying to be that 1% man. They're the high achievers. They're pushing. They're trying to make the best out of their life. And oftentimes, folks who tend to be like that tend to get very caught up in their head. They're very, they're very analytical. You don't know anything about this. You're like, nah, I don't relate to this at all. They're analytical, they're problem solvers, and in a lot of areas of their life, that's super helpful. But when it comes to their mind, when you're trying to analyze or problem solve, you can oftentimes get very stuck in your head. And it keeps you in that thinking, planning phase, or that wondering, like, am I ready? And it gets in the way of you actually moving forward and taking action. So my work is all about understanding how the mind works so that you can go out and chase your dreams, be your best self, live the kind of life that you want instead of holding yourself back before you even met any obstacles in the real world.
I love what you just said, and we're going to put a dot right there for a minute because I want to go back and I want to ease into this interview because you just threw the whole gamut at me real quick. But I love it. I want to put a dot in it, like I said, and I want to go back and I want to ask you, I ask every person that comes on the show is, what's your favorite color and why?
My favorite color is green.
Okay, why green?
And I like lots of different shades of green. I love the dark green of the forest. I love the bright green of grass after it's just rained. I love that kind of muted green of winter. And some of it is kind of a little bit egotistical in the fact that I have green eyes and I like to celebrate things that are unique about everyone, the things that make you you. And while physical appearances aren't the number one thing we should focus on, I love my eyes. They're very similar to my dad's eyes. It kind of helps me connect with my heritage. And I've really always loved green, loved nature, loved the way it you can see it out in the world and it brings you this sense of calm and peace.
Yes. I love what you just said because I really love the dark forest green as well. There's just something about when you're in a forest, it's all green, especially on a bright sunshiny day. Say that really fast, right? But that really brings, I don't know what it is. It just makes me feel more alive. The air is cleaner. It's just better, especially when you're out in the forest and you're just breathing in that good air. There's not all these lights, automobiles. It just feels, I don't know. It almost feels, I don't even know how to say it. It's like a mystery to it. And I think green would be the perfect color, I would say, to that.
Yeah, there's some magic to it. At the same time, you realize that you're very small in comparison to the greater world. And yet it gives you this power of okay, I can do anything then. I can show up and I can be myself and it's okay. So I know that's putting a lot of meaning on the color green, but that's where my mind goes.
No, I love it. I love it. I love it. So I do want to ask though, if you had a megaphone and you had the biggest megaphone in the world and you could tap in to the brain of every man in the world and you could teach them one thing, what would it be and why?
It would be. I have a couple of things, but I think if
The
I
one
could,
thing, like the top one thing.
I know I'm bad at following directions. No.
I love
Here's the thing that I think all men could really benefit from, and that is staying focused on what's in your control. And I know it sounds like a simple thing, but we mess this up all the time because we like to try and believe that we can control the people in our life, we can control the future, we can control a certain outcome. But the truth is, the only thing we have control over is what we do with our body and what comes out of our mouth in the moment. And even that is limited by our language, our vocabulary, what our physical body is capable of. But if we can turn our attention away from trying to control everyone, from trying to force a certain outcome, right? I know those 1% men, they're working, they're striving towards their physical health, financial health, all of these wonderful things. But if we are too focused on like what this awesome outcome is, it's going to make it hard to take those steps to get there. Because like, I hate to be the bad news bear here, but life is not going to go the way that you plan. And the sooner that we can kind of acknowledge that and say, okay, this is the step I'm taking right now to get me to the next step, to move towards the life I want to have, the more likely it is we're going to get there, regardless of what life throws our way.
Yes. You know what? That is something huge that I'm still learning how to do, is to be present in the moment a lot and to stay focused on what I can control. So how do we, or what is it, or is there a technique or something that you teach in your practice that helps us to kind of get back to center when we are spacing out too far, left or right, and we're not centered? What can we do to get back to center and get back to focus on what we can control?
The first thing is just to be aware when our mind has gone somewhere else. And I know that seems super basic, but we can't interrupt something we don't know that is happening. So we need to first notice. And what this looks like is if you find yourself kind of spacing out, or if you find your mind like fantasizing about the future or worrying about the future, or going back through past experiences, doing that once can be super helpful. It gives us valuable information about how to plan for the future, how to avoid mistakes that we've made for the past. But the 10th time we go over that, we're not gaining anything new. So when our mind, I like to think of it as our mind kind of time travels. And so what we want to do is notice, okay, where did your mind time travel to? And can we bring it back to this moment? And so once we've noticed, okay, my mind's gone somewhere else, then we bring it back to this moment. And a way to do that is really checking in with your body. Sometimes people use the breath. I know a couple of people who have difficulty tuning into their breath. Maybe it makes them feel anxious. Maybe they just don't like the sensations that show up. You could do something as easy as scrunching your toes in your shoes, right? Or tapping each individual finger, maybe against a surface or against your leg, and just focus on that feeling. It takes no more than 30 seconds. But what it does is it forces our mind to pay attention to a sensation that's happening in this moment. And then once we're present, we can pause and ask ourselves, okay, what is important for me to do in this moment? What can I do in this moment that's going to take me towards the life I want to have? So first, notice when our mind has time traveled. Bring it back to the present by connecting with a sensation in this moment, and then asking ourselves what's important for us to be focusing on right now.
Man, okay. Totally love that. And now I want to go back, and I actually want to say something to that, is that a lot of times I think I find myself, especially because of the pandemic and everything that's going on, is that I time travel a lot into, I think we all are time traveling a lot to 2021, right? Everyone is kind of like, what is going to happen, right? Can we redo 2020, or can we kind of like skip this and keep this as a leap year in the history books? Is like, this is the year that we don't talk about. I just did a binge on Harry Potter. So it's like, the one that we shouldn't talk about, like, Lord Voldemort. It's like, yeah, 2020, just never talk about it. Put it away.
Exactly.
But I do find myself time traveling a lot. And I am such a forward thinker, right? And I always think in terms of like, even if I meet somebody, I'm like, okay, forward thinking about them, forward thinking about how this relationship is going to go. Romantically too. It's like, hey, is this person the one? Like, let me think ahead. Okay, the qualities they're showing right now. But a lot of times I like the idea of really tapping yourself or really touching something to really bring you back to center. I am going to use that. And of course, I'm going to let you know how it goes. So
yes,
I think I'm going to add that to the curriculum as well. I really do like that. But there's something you said in the beginning is getting stuck in planning phase, or getting stuck in the am I ready phase, or am I the one that should be doing this so much? And I can tell you countless of men, we always get stuck in thinking, planning, and waiting for the perfect moment and perfection, right? And something that we preach here is progress over perfection. But how do we get unstuck from this busy mind of planning to getting the mind of execute?
It kind of goes back a little bit to what I was saying before, is being aware. But there's one question that I always have my clients ask that really helps us identify, is this something that's helpful for us, or is this something we're using to avoid starting? And that is, when your mind is going through and planning, or it's analyzing, asking yourself, am I learning any new information? Because like I said before, there are times when we plan and we come up with a game plan and it's super helpful. But the third time we go over it, we're not gaining any new information. It's almost like we're feeling anxious, and so we're rehearsing something in our head just to make ourselves be like, okay, I got this. I got a plan. It's all under control. Everything's going to be okay. It's like a little like pat on the back or reassurance, but it's not giving us any new information. So that's one piece of the equation. That's how you can begin to notice, okay, my mind's gone somewhere else. I'm just kind of going over the same thing in my head. This is really not serving me for my long-term goals. The second part is settling into this realization that there's no such thing as a perfect time. There isn't. Perfection does not exist. Humans, by design, are not perfect, and that is okay. But if we are holding ourselves to, it has to be perfect before I start, you're always going to find a reason why you shouldn't start. And so I've adopted this kind of like 80% is perfect idea, and I did not make this up, like I got it from other people. But this idea of like 80% is perfect, right? I like what you said before, like, progress over perfection. We like just practice taking those steps. And the thing is, when you first do it, it's going to feel awful.
Oh my God.
Because we're going to feel unprepared, right? We're like, oh no, I should have done this, or I should have talked to this person first. Like they're going to have some magical answer to make it all better. No, what we want to get comfortable doing is being uncomfortable. Because if we can learn to sit with like, this is going to feel uncomfortable, and this is something that's important for me to do because it's going to take me forward to the type of man that I want to be, to the type of life and relationships that I want to have in my life. So asking yourself, am I willing to be uncomfortable in the service of the person that I want to be? And then it's going out and doing it. And start small with this. Like people, when they start like exercise programs, they're like, I'm going to run a mile every day. No, you're not. That's not going to happen. Sorry. Nope. Like never. Also, you shouldn't do that because that's how you injure yourself.
Just wait. I think we put too much pressure on ourselves to do so much to feel like we're doing something than to actually like get started. And I really like what you just said, especially about that, is 80% is perfect.
Yeah.
I think if I took that model, even with this podcast, because I think you being my accountability partner, I was like, I'm going to launch this podcast. And then I'm just like, it's like 4 weeks later, I'm going to launch this podcast. It's like, no, it's good enough. Like, launch it. The equipment isn't going to get better. The tools and resources aren't going to get better. And I want to share with you something that I read recently it was a special forces guy. He was talking about being a Green Beret. And he was saying how a lot of people always ask him what's the best tools and resources he needs that they need, whether it's camping, a knife or whatever. And he always tells them, he's like, you know what? The best resource in the world that you guys really need to work on is just being situational awareness. Just increasing your awareness about what you're doing or where you're at. And I think in the same sense of what you just said is that when we're going through this phase of planning or whatever we're doing, we just need to be aware, like get focused on being like, okay, am I learning anything new? Am I even moving the needle forward? Am I already at the 80% mark? There's no way that I'm gonna get to 100 because I'm already designed as a human to be imperfect. So now what's that next step that gets us over that hump of like, okay, now I'm aware. I know I'm at the 80% mark. How do I take that and leap now?
Just do it. Like, I'm going to steal from Nike here. And it's everyone wants, and people will ask me all the time, like, I'm a psychologist. I'm an expert in the type of work that I do. And my clients think I'm like holding out on them. Like I have some magic pill or wand or, bean, I don't know, that I can give them and it will magically make things easier. And the truth is, it's not going to be easy at the beginning. That's why I say, like, choose a very small first step. We can take exercise, for example. It might be practicing putting out your gym clothes the night before. And that's it. You put them on, I don't care. Right? It might be putting on your gym clothes, walking, down the driveway to get your mail and walking back. And that may seem so demoralizing. Like your mind might be saying, oh my God, like seriously, I can't even like go for a walk for 10 minutes. And it's going to find all these reasons to beat you up. But you know what? You're doing more today than you did yesterday. My dad is always fond of saying, it doesn't matter how many times you exercise in a week. It matters how many times you exercise in a lifetime. If you put too much pressure on the beginning phase, you're never going to get to the long-term part where you're just maintaining something or you're or you're at that 1%. Right? You're never going to get there if you're putting all of this weight on like these first couple of weeks or these first steps have to be perfect. It goes back to it has to try to be perfect, and it's not going to happen. So pick a small step. And the good way to test is if it's a small enough step is pick a step, give yourself like a goal, like maybe do it 3 times a week or 4 times a week. And if you don't do it, the step is too big. And cut it by 90%, like do 1/10 of that. And people will say to me all the time, but Jessica, that's like barely doing anything. I'm like, but it's doing something more than you did before. And the issue is a lot of times we are seeking a feeling instead of seeking to build a behavior. We want that high that we get after running that people tell me that they have that I've never experienced in my life. I hate running so much. I know you run a lot. You put rucksacks on and you go for runs. And I'm like,
I was started dying when you said that. It was so climactic, and then you just said that and it just dropped, and I just.
No, I'm sorry. My body is designed for sprinting. It is not designed to run for miles. I don't like it.
Yes.
But we're chasing that satisfaction. And the problem is that feeling is temporary. It's only going to last so long. So if like, even when people say like, I need to feel motivated. No, you don't. I can feel like I don't want to do something and I can still go do it. It's not as fun. It's not as easy, but I can do it. And the more that you can train yourself to do that in any area of your life, it's going to set you up for success for every area of your life. Because while some other guys are going like, I need the right sneakers to run, or like, I just, the weather's not great today. Like, I gotta have a sunny day and feel like pumped or have the right Spotify playlist. You're gonna say, I don't feel like doing it today, and I'm gonna go out and do it. Today's the day I sit down and I figure out my budget. Today's the day I, send this woman that I like flowers. Today's the day.
I've done that. That's a great thing to do. That's a great thing to do. I'm sorry. I just wanted to interject right there. I don't mean to cut you off. I think that's a great thing to do.
I snuck that example in because I saw her Instagram account and I was like, B, you're doing a good job.
Appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Keep it up. But if we're chasing a feeling, we're never going to get the outcome we want. The feeling is great. The feeling is like an extra bonus. It's a byproduct. But what we're really trying to build is a habit. And that's not always fun. Like, sorry, but it's not.
That's true. I love how simple it is with what you said is. But the thing is that's so profound is that, let me ask this before I even say that, is why do you think so many people are looking for a secret, for the hack, for even the tactics, or why do we keep thinking about secret hacks or secret tactics, or we're missing out on something that, or we complicate it more than it has to be? Is that by design, or is that just, because I've seen that a lot going on. Even myself, I'm almost like, there has to be an easier way, or it has to be something I'm missing. Why is that?
Because it's not fun. Like, really, that's what it is at our core. Look, our minds are threat detection systems. Yes. By design, when we feel something that feels scary, that feels uncomfortable, that we're afraid of, our natural response is to run away from it. Your mind can't tell the difference between a lion chasing you and picturing a lion in your head. And the truth is, all of these changes you want to make in your life, they're just mental lions. And so it's a natural response to want to move away from something uncomfortable, which means it's a natural response to want to seek out something that makes it not uncomfortable anymore. The issue is that if something's important to you, it is naturally going to be uncomfortable. Because if we want to push and like be that 1% man, we want to have that relationship that is solid with like a quality person that we can share our life with. We want to treat our bodies well so that decades down the road, like we can carry ourselves in the way that we want to. If we start to move on that path, it's scary because your mind is going to come up with all the reasons that you might fail. All the reasons why it may be hard, that it's not going to feel good, that other men can do it, but I can't. Like, I'm just this loser. I'm always going to be in this like okay place. I'm never going to achieve anything worthwhile. And that's scary. But it's scary because it matters to you. Anything that matters to you is going to feel uncomfortable. That's like getting into a relationship with someone you really care about. There's some fear there because we don't want to mess it up.
100%. Yes, right? I agree with that. Yes.
So what ends up happening is a lot of times we just kind of opt out before we can feel that pain. So we're looking for all these quick tricks. And honestly, it's so, like, I like to think of it as psychology for evil. Like that's what all of these marketing ploys are. Like, drink this tea and never have body fat again. Like, I don't know.
I've seen those a couple times. I fell for that.
Absolutely.
Yes,
like, men get this hand clamp and like you'll get those veins on your forearm. It's like, no, guys, come on. I get why you want to fall for them. I get why you want the easy, quick fix. That's not how it works. I'm sorry. Like, I really am. I really wish it were easy, but it's not. It's just about starting somewhere.
True. And like I said, I love how simple and profound this all is. And I always say when every time someone says, well, I know that, if you knew it, then you'd be doing it and you wouldn't be listening to the podcast, or you wouldn't be, what's up?
And here's the thing, you might know it. Knowing it is a mind thing. It's an intellectualizing, it's a busy mind thing. I don't want you to know it. I want you to feel it. Because because knowing it is like great. Like I used to run, like my background is in obesity research. I used to run weight loss clinics, and I've had folks who could have run the class. Like they have an extensive knowledge of health and physical activity and like how to make healthy food choices and changing their environment. They had all of the knowledge, but it was being willing to feel uncomfortable. It was dealing with the stuff that they were using food to avoid, right? Like, I mean, maybe we're not exercising because we're sitting on the couch scrolling through Instagram because we're feeling so exhausted or stressed out and we don't know how to deal with those feelings. Men are not taught how to deal with their feelings unless it's like happy, horny, or angry.
Yeah, top three, yes.
Yeah, those are like the acceptable emotions for men, which is awful. Like I'm going to say that's not okay. You're allowed to have all the feelings that you have. But there's a difference between having the knowledge and feeling the experience. And that is what taking that first step is about. It's about taking this step and feeling how uncomfortable it feels to move towards something that matters to you.
Damn, Jessica. Oh my God. I love what you're saying. So profound, especially I had to write this down is don't know it, but feel it. And I know our time is running out. We have about 30 seconds left. So I want to ask is, so last thing that maybe came to your head or something that you want to share with all these men, and even the women that are listening to as well, but what is something that you want to share that's probably on your heart? It's a message. Is it a story, something that happened this week or maybe this year to you? What's the last thing that you want to say before we tune off?
I guess I want to say that no matter where you're starting, you can always get there. Last year, and like B, you know this, like last year was an awful year for me. I was off of work for 9 months. I was struggling with PTSD and depression for some stuff that happened to me in a past relationship. And I was at some really low points. And I took the steps to get the help I need to move forward. And sometimes it was excruciatingly slow. And sometimes I was very angry and I was disappointed in myself and I was upset with the world. And wherever you're starting from, know that you can move forward. The struggle is that you have to move through whatever's showing up. And it's okay if it takes a long time because time's going to move by anyway. 5 years, it's going to, go by in the blink of an eye. And as you get older, that time just speeds up. It's a fancy thing our mind does. It just speeds up that time. So if time's going to move forward anyway, even if it's teeny tiny steps, let's start moving in that direction because as long as you're staying committed to the type of person that you want to be, you'll get there. No matter where you're starting.
I love it because I've seen where I haven't seen the whole 9 months, but I've seen where you were before, I think like a couple months ago to now. And I'm like, yo, right. The growth, everything she's been through. And I mean, it almost seems to me, it's like you're on a rocket ship and you haven't even left like planet Earth. You're still like in that phase of where it's just like all the combustion, just the explosion. And then it's the takeoff is coming, which I'm super excited about as well.
I appreciate it. And that's what happens, right? We'll see someone and they're just like lifting off. Like, I don't know if you've been checking in on like B will post on Facebook videos of your like body and your progress and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, damn, my friend is working out and you're like seeing results. And people see that outcome, but they don't see all the days and weeks and months that you put in to all of a sudden have that transformation. And so like, I heard this before, but like, don't judge someone's, don't judge your beginning compared to like someone else's middle. Like everyone starts somewhere.
Yes, 100%. And my brother tuning in, and even my sisters out there tuning in, I want to thank you for tuning in. And Jessica, yet again, thank you. I'm going to have you back again because we need to go deeper into the things that you said and all the amazing things that you're doing and working on as well. So as well as if you want to follow Jessica and get more information about her, go to Instagram. And Jessica, what is your Instagram?
So my Instagram is Busy Mind Psychologist. So at Busy Mind Psychologist, you can find the link to my website. I have a fun, like, what type of busy mind are you? And I give you a free workbook if you sign up for my mailing list. So that is where I am most active. And send me a DM. Say hi. Let me know what you loved about this podcast. I respond to everyone.
I love it. I think I am the overachiever. I think that's
yes.
Yes, I am the overachiever in your with the busy mind psychology test. I actually took that and I actually really love it a lot. But yet again, I know time is running out, so we have to go. But thank you again, Jessica, so much. And my brother, remember, your legacy starts today. Thank you, my friend, for tuning into today's episode. This means so much to us over here at the 1% Man community. Now, we want to extend a hand of gratitude to you. So I have a free gift for you. All you have to do is go to www.the1percentman.com/podcast gift. This is an exclusive gift for listeners that tune into our podcast. So go over there, get that free gift as well. And now I have two simple acts of you. One, hit that subscribe button and leave us a comment and a 5-star review, because that helps us to see what you love about the podcast, and that helps us to bolster up in the rankings so more people can find us and listen to this pertinent information that we have for men of today's age. Last but not least, I want you to go back and listen to this podcast. Find just one thing that you can implement in your life today so you can move forward. Remember, progress over perfection. And till next time, my friend, your legacy starts today.